Good evening, I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11 Alive Weather Impact Team with this extended weather outlook here on this Wednesday evening at 9 o'clock. And it is so much quieter out there tonight than it's been over the past few nights. We have the drier weather pattern here. And I'm going to break down what to expect here for the rest of the week heading into July 4th, as well as the 4th of July long holiday weekend. But before I get to that, I want to talk a little bit about the tropics, because we have something that we're watching right now in the Gulf that's going to move across the Florida Peninsula and could develop once it gets over into the Atlantic. So we're going to break that down for you coming up. But before I get to that, I want to kind of review what we have already had here this year in the tropics. And we have had two named systems. The first one was Andrea. That one formed in the north central Atlantic, and it really was just a tropical storm for maybe a total of 12 hours. It didn't have any impact on anybody. It was out in the Atlantic. It just kind of ramped up for a bit, gained tropical storm status, and then it fell apart. Didn't impact any kind of land masses, any islands. It was just what we call a fish storm, impacting only fish there in the Atlantic. Then we had another one. Barry was our second tropical system, and it was a tropical storm. This one formed in the southern Gulf around the Bay of Campeche as it got its name, and it was already really close to land when it formed. So it was a short-lived tropical storm, but it did impact folks as the system moved in along the eastern coast of Mexico there, and it caused some damage and a lot of rain there along that part of Mexico. The next name on the list is Chantal, and then you see the additional names. It goes to Dexter, Aaron, on down, Imelda, Jerry, Karen, on down to the Windy name. Now, new in 2025, we have Dexter. That replaces Dorian. That was in 2019. So these are the names that we're going to be having here. And as you look at back at June, the typical areas of development, this area was pretty much similar to what Barry did. This was a system that developed over here in the Western Caribbean, moved across the Yucatan Peninsula just as a little disturbance there. And then once it got in the Bay of Campeche here, moving close to Mexico, that's when it became a tropical storm. We had, of course, Andrea, that just developed way out in the north central Atlantic here. But then now we're watching a system that is in the Gulf that is really similar to this particular path. Now again, these are just typical average beginnings of tropical systems in the month of June. Now I know we're finished with June and moving into July, but this what we're seeing now that's in the Gulf is pretty similar to what we're seeing that could be developing from in the Gulf right now, but similar to where we see some of these typical tracks in June. Now let's look at July. Then we start seeing tracks in July, which is where we are right now, that we see origination of tropical systems more over into the Caribbean and maybe a little farther over to the east, where again we have plenty of warm water around. And these development tracks usually are over water for a little bit longer, and these storms can get a little bit stronger. Now later in the season, we have what we call the Cape Verde season, which is when we see mainly in August, September, and October. That's when we see those storms that develop way out in the Atlantic over off the coast of Africa. But for the first part of the season, it's usually these storms that develop in the Gulf or the Caribbean, and some of these, excuse me, out into the Atlantic. So this is what we're going to be watching for in the month of July. Now, let's talk about that system that we are keeping an eye on in the Gulf of Mexico. And this system here, the National Hurricane Center just updated this orange blob, which shows where we could see some areas of origination there. Earlier, it was showing this all the way over into the Gulf here, moving over the Florida Peninsula. But now the Hurricane Center is kind of moving that over a little bit more into the Atlantic, thinking that this isn't going to become a tropical storm here in the Gulf, and definitely not over the Florida Peninsula, but it's over in the Atlantic as it moves to the east, where it could get a little bit stronger, and that's where we might see some of that development. So they're saying 0% chance of developing over the next 2 days, a 40% chance of developing over the next 7 days. So that's what we're going to be watching here. Now, of course, we want to watch this as well, because if you have plans here along the Georgia or the Carolina coastline, you could be impacted by this system. Whether or not this gets a name, it is going to be a rainmaker, even as it moves over the Florida Peninsula. Now, I'm thinking that the Florida Panhandle should be okay, far enough away from that system that it won't cause any major issues in the panhandle. But over the Florida Peninsula, again, whether or not it gets a name, it is still going to be a rainmaker there. And then especially over into the Atlantic, if it does get stronger, even if it doesn't make a direct landfall, which we don't think it will, on the Georgia coast or the South Carolina or North Carolina coast, it may just kind of ride up the coast here. It could still spread some rain along the coastline. And the thing that I want everybody to be aware of, if you're going to the Georgia coast or the South Carolina coast, let's say Hilton Head, Savannah, St. Simons, the Brunswick area, Jekyll Island, you need to be aware of that there's most likely going to be some rough surf and some rip tides there. So I want you to really be aware of that as we go through the long holiday weekend. So that's a look at what we're watching there with the tropics. And again, you've seen us use this image a lot, where the hurricane season begins June 1st. It ends November 30th. It usually peaks statistically around September 10th. So really when we get it, into late July, mainly into August, especially mid-August through September to October, that's usually when we see most of the activity. So here we are at the beginning of July. We're about right here, just as things are starting to pick up just a little bit more. So really we have a lot to get through still with our hurricane season. Take a look right now at radar, and we don't see a lot of action going on there right now. This is great to talk about with mainly a dry scan over our area. Take a look at this full screen and you can see what we're talking about here with no rain in Atlanta. Now, we have been watching a few showers that were originating north and east of us and a few showers south and east of us a little bit earlier. And as of right now, again, nothing going on here in Atlanta, but we've been keeping an eye on a couple of those showers east of the city. We were watching one a little bit earlier that was in parts of Habersham County, moving into Banks County. It was falling apart into Jackson County as it crossed over 85. Then, as it moved over into areas of Clark County and Oconee County, and now into areas of Morgan County and Greene County, a few of those showers are actually ramping up just a little bit more with just a couple of spots there. But those small showers do have some heavy rain with them. Here you can see it as it moved through Clark County near Athens, and then it started falling apart, ramping back up into Greene County and also into Morgan County there, north of Madison. That's just north of I-20 there, well to the east of the city. So just a couple of those showers developing. Those don't even have any lightning with them, just a good evening downpour out of that system here. We are dry in Atlanta, and then if you look down to South Georgia, not much happening south of the city, but into Central Georgia, South Georgia, and Southeast Georgia, that's where we have a few more of those showers around. Remember, we were telling you yesterday about a front that was going to be moving through, and that's going to push a lot of that moisture down to the south and bring drier air into our area. Well, you can kind of see here that we do have that front just to the south. It's going to be stalling out south of us though, and ahead of that front, that's where we have some of that moisture, some of those scattered showers that are developing, more of that here in the Gulf of Mexico too, and into the Florida Peninsula. But we'll watch that system here that's in the Gulf. Again, we think it will move over the Florida Peninsula and then out into the Atlantic. That's where it could potentially develop into maybe a tropical depression, possibly a tropical storm. But again, those chances are on the low end for that to happen. Isn't this a beautiful view? Speaking of Athens, after they had a little shower move through, the sun just went down, and that's a view of the horizon there with some of the nice colors there on the horizon. And at Truist Park, things are looking good. I just watched the sunset on this camera right over here just a little while ago. And it was a beautiful view. As you can see, just a few of those clouds there on the horizon. And of course, my favorite tower cam that I show you a lot at this time, especially close to sunset here. This is out at Arizona Avenue in DeKalb County, looking back toward the city of Atlanta. Just a beautiful view there of all those colors there in the sky. Look at our high temperature today. We made it up to 92 degrees this afternoon. Our low this morning was 73. That 73, a couple degrees above the average. The 92, just a few degrees above the average. We should be around 89 for this time of year. Now we got up to 92. The record is 99. We haven't had any rain in our area today. It's been a dry day, kind of nice to have there. And since we've had a good coverage of rain lately, our rainfall surplus is it's a little bit more than an inch above where we should be in rainfall for the year. Now we've got the drier air moving in, and it looks to be rain-free over the next few days. It is going to be hot though, but also not as humid. So as those temperatures get into the lower 90s for the next few days, at least the humidity levels will make that a little more bearable rather than being so oppressive outside. So when you are out and about enjoying that hot air, be sure to have the sunscreen and your sunglasses because it'll be bright and sunny with just a few clouds that'll be mixing in with that at times. Now, after hitting 92 today, we're seeing those temperatures back down a little bit in the mid 80s here in town. We're 84 degrees here at the 9 o'clock hour. Also 84 in Duluth, Marietta 83, Covington 82, some lower 80s in Canton and Gainesville. Elsewhere, we have some 70s up in North Georgia to the west of us and a few 70s to the south too. And over in Athens, 76. They had that shower that moved through Clark County that brought just some slightly cooler air with that rain shower nearby. Now, as we go through the day on Thursday, we start off at 71. There will be a few clouds mixing in with the sunshine at times, but we look to be rain-free, but also warm. High temperatures up to 92 degrees here in those afternoon hours. So here's the forecast track. Let me show you the timeline of what we're watching. Model picking up on that little shower that was over near Athens, pushing down into parts of Greene County and Morgan County. That's going to move away and fall apart. And then tomorrow, we're going to be dry to start the day here early in the morning. A couple of clouds around at lunchtime. And you can see here on the modeling, it tries to kick up a little bit of green here and there, indicating maybe the potential for a little isolated shower. I really think that rain chance is less than 20%. We're not even really including that in our forecast here. But on the south side, maybe a little better chance of just a couple of those isolated showers. Then on Friday, another great day, a nice start there. And through the daytime hours, we will see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies with temperatures warming up to around 93. Now, AJC Peachtree Road Race early on Friday morning for July 4th. I'm thinking low temperatures, morning temperatures are going to be in the lower 70s. Again, the dew points will be in the 60s there. So not as oppressive, still kind of humid though. And then that'll be warming up during the race once the sun comes up there. Then on Friday afternoon, mainly dry. Not out of the question there could be an isolated shower in parts of North Georgia, but I really think most of us will stay dry. Saturday morning, starting off really nice too, with another dry day. More of an easterly flow coming in, still dry, and temperatures that will be moving up into those 90s. Now, here's a look at that drier air moving in. This is the moisture map that shows that blue color indicating that drier air that's filtering in. And we've been enjoying that out there for today. Down to the south, still a lot of reds. We have oranges and yellow colors there indicating a lot of that tropical moisture that is still in parts of South Georgia. So as that front came through, it's stalling out now to the south of us, but we're on the good side of that system, bringing in some of that drier air. And that's really going to stick with us for the next couple of days here in North Georgia. This takes us through Friday and then into Saturday. Now, what I want you to see here, not only just the mainly dry air over us, but look at this tropical moisture that is out in the Atlantic. That's the system that we're going to be watching. And depending on where the center or potential center of that system forms, whether it's farther out or closer in, that's going to determine how much moisture will be near the coastline. And this shows on Sunday a better coverage potentially of tropical moisture here with the potential for rain. And again, we'll be watching for that rough surf along the coast as well. And you can see how that moisture moves up to the north and east. We'll be on the drier side of this system, and that may even reinforce the drier air since we're on that drier western side of the system there heading through the weekend. Then once we get into next week, more of that moisture is going to start feeding back in, and we're going to see our rain chances that are going to start coming back up. Now, the dew point is the actual measure of how much moisture is in the atmosphere. When you see dew points that are in the lower 70s or in the 70s, it's pretty oppressive, but if it dips down into the 60s a little bit, that makes the air feel a little more comfortable. And that's what we're going to be doing over the next few days, seeing those dew points dropping a little bit before that moisture content goes back up going into Monday as well as on Tuesday. So take a look at the high temperatures. Yeah, it's going to be hot. Generally 92, 93 degrees each day over the next 5 to 7 days. So the hot air is going to be there. The moisture is going to be lacking though. So we're holding off on any rain chances for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We go up to about a 20% chance for a shower on Monday and Tuesday, 30% chance for a shower here on Wednesday as that moisture content starts coming back. Now, just know when you're looking at this and it looks rain-free for now, I'm still feeling pretty confident that that system is going to stay far enough away in the Atlantic that it really won't have any impact on us. But if there's any change in the track of that system, where it could pull some moisture back our way, we will let you know. But right now, things are still looking pretty much on the dry side. Thanks for joining us for this extended update here on 11 Alive Plus and Weather Impact 24/7. We'll have more updates for you throughout the day on Thursday, Friday, and through the weekend too.